Hi, welcome to Hawk Talk episode 4. Today we are joined by Elliott, Skeptir, Christopher. Thank you, Elliott. Thank you
Dude,
very
thanks
much.
for having me.
Yeah,
I'm
of course.
excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy you came in here. You got to see our room too.
Dude, yeah, no, the room is actually super sick. This is a very hype esports arena for you guys here at Dunwoody, and I think it's just the beginning, right? You got a lot of new rosters coming in. You're telling me about tryouts coming out tomorrow, so
Oh yeah,
that's good stuff, man.
it will be. Appreciate it. So let's jump in here. So who are you, and what are your current roles within the esports industry?
Well, my name, as you said, I'm Elliott. Skeptir is my alias. Christopher is my last name. And, I've been in the Minnesota esports scene for, quite some time now. I'd say the last 5 to 7-ish years. I've kind of been building my name over time, started with League of Legends, started competing at local tournaments, right? Trying to go around, trying to find people to play. Cause, at my time when I was in high school, it was kind of right before we really started to see esports clubs around schools and kind of started to build that. I mean, I can take some credit because I went and I talked to my guy Jakey Titus at St. Louis Park, and I was like, dude, you know, I'm graduating soon, but like I think that we need to have an esports club, right? Like, there's too many friends of mine that I know that don't play other sports. They don't really, they're my friend group, but they don't get out and get those activities and that extra kind of, I mean, that extra sense of camaraderie and community that you get right from normal sports, from normal friend groups, and that's kind of where esports is. It fits in. So, we worked on it over the summer. Came back with an esports club, and I started kind of. That's where I started coaching. That's where I started helping out. Was the St. Louis Park League team. So kind of that's, I guess, my OG entrance and beginning.
Your team did pretty well from what I remember too. So,
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm not going to take credit for the Overwatch squad but St. Louis Park Overwatch obviously went on and won the national tournament that year. We got, recognized across the nation as one of the number one esports spots in the area. So that definitely helped out my guy, Mr. U, and it kind of paved the way for where we are now and kind of what we were able to start to build up. I mean, MNVL and that entirety of an esports, dream and journey of mine has been possible thanks to the success that we were able to find so early on. And I
mhm.
mean, that's a whole nother story. But I mean,
Yeah,
that's kind of what we're talking about, right? About like, esports at a high school level. And it's kind of something we've built, right? We've built it into reality. We knew it was coming and it was destined. And now we have, I mean, without a doubt, the best high school esports league in the nation, man. It's without
agreed.
question. MNVL is in a league of its own. Our production is done by kids at the high school level, so it's kind of like the next generation and the new age of players and casting interns kind of coming into the scene. So it's super cool to be a part of, and it's kind of super cool to build the foundations of the newcomers for esports. I mean, and we get to work with some absolute legends. I mean, Doa, right?
Yep.
The OG League of Legends caster trains myself. He trains our casting interns. These kids come in at a high school level and they get to learn from one of the goats. I mean, you can't find an experience like this anywhere else.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. You have Doa.
Dude, yeah. I mean, I still fanboy over talking to Doa, in
You
our
and a lot
weekly
of other
meetings.
people.
Yeah, I'm just like, dude, I sit there and I'm like, I start thinking about a play or something that happened, one of his casting moments. He's an icon in itself. So it's an honor to get to work with
So,
a guy like him.
just for reference, who is Doa for people that might not know?
Okay. Well, for those of you who don't know, Doa is a professional broadcaster. He's one of the probably founding fathers, if you consider him to be so, of the broadcasting game. I mean, he was doing it before it was a realistic job, right? The guy moved out to South Korea to pursue casting StarCraft. And then he was one of the very first English speaking broadcasters in Korea. He's casted all of the greats like Faker, like Deft, like Smeb. I mean, you name it, bro. Professional Korean all-star. Doa's casted him, and I mean the opportunity to get to cast with him is it's like a dream come true, man.
Yeah, I believe it. So we kind of covered this, but let's talk about your teams a little bit prior, because that's one thing I was able to witness. Back in the day, you guys always did phenomenal. But what roles did you have prior to being a coach for Concordia and a broadcaster for MNVL?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, kind of before I became and took on the casting role and coaching role, I competed a lot myself. I competed throughout the League of Legends circuit. I would go to local colleges hosting tournaments, whether it was the U of M, whether it was Mankato, St. Cloud, Duluth, occasionally. Not quite as often, but I would try to travel and go everywhere to compete in these tournaments. 2DCon had some great ones, and as you can know, what I'm about next, the holy grail of tournaments in Minnesota, Mystic Lake, the Player Up tournament. That was always, I mean, GopherCon too. Let's not miss that one. Some
Yeah,
super fun tournaments that I've competed in over the years. I built a lot of my kind of core relationships. Some names, I got to give some name drops here. My guy Wallride, OG founder of the Duluth Esports team. Got to give a shout out to Nutters and Ernst, some of the OG U of M guys that I played with. A lot of these players that I was able to kind of meet, and they kind of mentored me and built me into kind of a player and a bit more of a man that I am today. So I was truly grateful to get the experience to learn from some of these guys because I looked up to them. I came into kind of collegiate esports a year early, right? As my in my senior year of high school, I'm meeting all these guys, getting to talk to the starting jungler for the U of M team to me was a big deal, right? It might not seem like that to a lot of people, but I really cared about esports and I really wanted to kind of start my own journey in collegiate esports. And I mean, I didn't kind of tell you this, but I went to Normandale and I started the Normandale esports program there. So for
I
the
didn't know that.
short little time that I was there, I was, president and acting jungler captain, of the team. So that was super fun. I competed in this thing called the MNLCS back in the day. So it was like U of M had
I
teams.
remember that.
Yep.
That's
We'd have
yeah,
streams every now and then. We didn't do the best in our first season, but by season 2, we had a super tight game against St. Thomas that we ended up edging them out and we made it to playoffs. So, you know, I went from being told that Normandale wouldn't be allowed to play in the league because we didn't meet standards to them asking me to, bring my team into the league because they had a lack of teams. So, we
yeah.
went from basically being told we weren't going to be good enough to making it to playoffs in the span of 2 seasons, man. So, you know, I didn't doubt my team. We might not have had the best players, but we got it done regardless, man. So the work ethic has kind of always been there.
Cool. Very, very cool. So what are your most memorable moments from these years?
Dude,
I think
I
I
mean,
could guess.
I gotta say, going to the land tournaments and being able to participate and feel the kind of energy that you experience when going to these tournaments is unique, right? For a long time, I mean, I saw you at almost every single one of these
Yeah,
events, but like, dude, when you're there and you're in these in-person events,
they're
it's like
fun.
it's a feeling that you can't replicate, right? It's a true joy that I kind of have, and I love it, man. On the day, I have a hard time sleeping before I'm getting ready to go to a tournament on the next day because I just know how fun it's going to be. I know all of my friends that I've met over the years. I'm going to get to see them, man,
Yep.
because it's like you don't get to, it's not like you hang out with your esports friends all the time, right? A lot of these
Yeah.
guys are people or girls, you're talking to on Discord, on online, so you don't get to see them. So it's really special when I get opportunities to go. So I mean, every single tournament, man, I have great memories from. It. Tech delay or not, it doesn't matter. It's about being there, being with the people. I gotta say, dude, some of my more memories that are coming in, going to some of these Minnesota Rocker live
Yep.
events. Okay.
Those are fun.
These have been mad fun. The Armory one before COVID was awesome. I got the chance to go there, meet Brett Diamond, meet some of the big dogs over at V1, man. What V1's doing is unreal. I just think
Yep.
kind of over the past few years, the Minnesota esports scene has truly exploded. And it's like, dude, we're a hot spot, right? People
Yep.
might not have seen it before back when it was LCS dominated and all the teams were out in, the West Coast. But I'd say Minnesota is as good of a spot as any right now, especially with the work that Wisdom's doing over at MOA, man. Our MNVL state tournament was absurd,
Yeah,
so
that
much
was fun.
fun. Yeah, I
That
mean,
was that was a
a
good
lot of good
tournament.
memories for sure.
It was cool. I got to see my high school, former high school compete.
That's
That
awesome.
that was very fun. Minnetonka and yeah, that put a smile on my face because
Dude,
I didn't realize they had an esports team. I mean,
Tonka did
yeah,
good.
I know. Yeah, they did all right. In fact, I have got their coach Tyler November 9th on a Hawk Talk.
Nice. Yeah, dude. I was gonna say I'm pretty sure Tonka took out my St. Louis Park Valorant team that I kind of
Oh
helped
yeah,
coach for
I
third
remember.
place. So they're
Jake and I were talking because we were both rooting for our home high schools.
yep. No, I mean
That was
Tonka's
funny.
great. They got some great players over there. So they've definitely been working hard too. They've been, on the come up. So I'm excited to see kind of how Tonka's gonna do, honestly, coming into the rest of the MNBL season. But that's its own journey.
So, next question. What piece of advice would you give our students that want to get into the esports industry?
One piece of advice would be kind of like taking opportunities, right? In the esports scene, taking opportunities is something that you have to do, because if you don't do it, then the guy or gal next to you is going to take that opportunity. There's so many people that want to be in this scene and in this area, and you have to make the most of it when you get those opportunities, is what I would say. And
Yep.
like, put yourself out there too, right? Don't be afraid to go out and go seek out an opportunity, right? Like the first time I ever went to a big esports kind of meeting gathering was my dad sending me a U of M, weekly tournament invite, and it was like for club members, and I wasn't even a part of the club. I messaged them ahead of time and was like, hey, I'm not a part of the club, but I'd love to show up and compete in the tournament, right, and have some fun. And they gave it the okay, and that's where I met, yeah, a bunch of the players that I kind of noted earlier, right, was going to
Mhm.
these early events and forging these relationships that have lasted years. I know each and every one of those guys that I met early on in my first few times going to tournaments. So you just got to go out and you got to put your kind of hand in the ring
Yep.
to get selected. Is the way I see it.
Oh yeah, and I think you and myself, hours and hours and hours of working for free.
Yes, sir.
I'm not years. I'm not going to suggest that to anybody, but that's one of the
Yeah,
one of
man.
the things I remember.
It's like, and the thing is too, is like, it wasn't so much of me viewing it as like a job and wanting to get paid. It was
Oh,
like
it's
a
a
pleasure
passion.
and an honor
Yeah,
to do it, right? It's like, it's
agreed.
more, I want to be there, right?
Yep.
And I don't care. And then, eventually you get to a point where it's like, all right, you're good enough and people are recognizing you. And then it's like, you're going to start getting paid and you're going to start
Yep.
getting recognized. I mean, you know, look at how dope this studio setup that
I
you got
know.
is right now, dude.
Oh,
This,
it's
this
amazing.
arena is so sick. Yeah, no, I'm loving it though. This is a sick setup.
I
Hawks are going
appreciate
to be
it.
solid.
Yeah, hopefully we get some matches between Concordia too.
Oh yeah.
It'll be fun. So next topic, topic 2, broadcasting. What does your day-to-day work life consist of as a broadcaster for Minnesota Varsity League?
My title and my position at MMVL has gone up in this recent season. I lost my long-standing duo of Thunder McFadden. I
Yep.
casted 2 full years with him, and over that course, we got really comfortable and really synergetic in our casting. I mean, it got to the point where we probably could have gotten thrown onto any random game, and we would have been able to come out with a pretty entertaining and good sounding broadcast. I mean, he was a good guy to work with. So
Yeah, he
with
is.
him departing the MNVL squad, I've kind of taken a step up in the casting department, and I'm more so the manager now. So I'm trying to help out all of the interns and give them as much kind of feedback, support that I can. So on Mondays is usually when we have a few meetings. We got our MNVL meeting, talk about things that are changing throughout the week, things that are doing good, things that we got to fix up before our next broadcasts. And then we have our individual caster meeting. And that's actually where, Doa, the man I was talking about earlier, comes in, and he usually does a bit of individual VOD reviewing and caster listening of all the interns. And he comes in and he gives them feedback during these
Very
segments.
cool.
So, and I mean, I haven't even given a shout out to this guy, Supersonic. Okay,
Hmm.
professional RLCS caster for version 1, recently has hopped on the MNBL team as well, and he's starting to work with our Rocket League squad now. So like, we're getting feedback from 2 professionals, and I'm
You're,
not gonna say I'm there yet, but I'm getting there, right? And I'm
yeah,
helping out the interns. I'm trying to give some feedback, and it's all about kind of trying to build a path and a gateway for these guys to kind of become young casters, right? A lot of our guys have been going out and doing local Smash tournaments. La Fever and Gummy, they met doing local Smash tournaments. our other intern Epiphany, he just went down to Mankato and was one of the main casters for that Rockstar Energy
Yep.
Call of Duty tournament. So for anyone that was down there, he was just making his waves down there. So like everybody that's around and surrounding this MNBL squad is like putting in the work, putting in the hours, right? Where we're trying to do more looking back on previous weeks, previous games, taking notes. We're trying to make it as legitimate as possible. So, I'd say on the average day, it's about 3 to 4 hours, plus cast. So usually we're usually looking at meeting about an hour beforehand, minimum, for talking about production, talking about the team's plan, and so on and so forth.
Cool. Next question. So, what sort of qualifications or experience does someone need to be successful in broadcasting? And some of this, I think a lot of this we already covered.
I think the thing that's interesting about it is like you won't really know if you're so-called qualified or not until you just kind of you go for it, right? Like I did a lot of, we didn't have a commentator when I was showing up and I was playing in tournaments, and it's like, hey, does somebody want to hop on the mic with, I'll give a quick story. OG of U of M League Club. I met him in my first tournament ever. His name used to be Sir Buttkick. His name is now Kangas Casts. Okay, he's a professional caster. He was just out in Thailand, I believe. Wild Rift. He came back to Minnesota. I mean, he just went into his first full year of professional broadcasting. He's one of the mainstays for Wild Rift. And I mean, he's one of the guys that I got to just bum on and hop on broadcast with and get to work with him, So like the fact that I kind of got an opportunity to just play around and cast with him a few times. They always went good. It was always super fun and entertaining. I mean, I was getting to cast League of Legends, and it was usually after like my team, departed or lost at the LAN event. I would hop on as like a player guest. And I mean, I don't know, man. It's just, it was all in good fun, right? Trying to have fun, trying to create something new. And I mean, I think you just go for it, right? Back to my point earlier. It's, you don't necessarily need to have qualifications. If it's something that you want to do and you want to try, I say go for it, because we have 2 interns that this is their first time casting this season in MMBL. No prior casting experience. They filled out the intern application and they were well spoken and they said they wanted to get the opportunity, so we gave them the opportunity. That's exactly what happened. Cool. So it's like, you just got to try, I think, is really what the main point is.
Very, very cool. Question: are those interns high school students or a mix of?
Yes, sir. Okay. No, so all the casting interns that we work with, and we have some production interns as well that are working behind the scenes, are high school volunteer, right? This is about giving an opportunity to players or would-be players in the MNVL. So like, they could be commentating their peers, friends from school, so like a lot of these players have played a season or 2 in the MNVL, and they're like, hey, I want to give my shot at broadcasting this year. I'm feeling like I'm okay with not competing, and I'm gonna try to cast. So it's been a good mix, but it's been good fun, and I think I've enjoyed getting to meet and work with these interns so far.
Very cool. Yeah, that's hopefully something along the lines of what we'll be doing here. We've had so many students that want to broadcast and shoutcast that we'll build it in.
Yeah, for sure.
So, where do you envision high school esports to be from a broadcasting perspective in 5 years?
That's a good question, because I think we're already starting to get closer and closer to a point of every single school having their own set casts, right? We recently got the Minnesota Varsity League team role added to Twitch. So we have all the schools listed that compete for us down underneath our banner. So whenever they're going live on Twitch, if you go to our homepage, you can branch out and go to any kind of game of the week that you'd want to. So it's getting closer and closer to being a legitimized, esport is going to be hand in hand with natural sports, I'd say, within the next 5 years. I wouldn't be surprised if it's sooner. It's a long time coming in this, and at this stage and at this rate, it's inevitable for every school to kind of have a position and a part where like a lot of these kids can take place in, man. Like, I saw a stat, saying like 98% of kids that participate in esports don't play any other sport, right? So it's like
inclusive.
So it's like, we need to give these kids an opportunity to give something to them, right? Like I learned a lot playing sports growing up as a kid. I learned a lot from my coaches. I learned a lot from my teammates, and to have such a large amount of people to be sapped from a team environment, team kind of growing, building uh, thing. It's just, I think it's unnatural, right? It's that
Hmm.
sense of community that is being missed. So it's going to happen, and we're making the right moves, but it's still taking a little bit of time, and that's okay. Well, we got the right people on the job, and we're seeing growth every single season. Numbers have doubled almost every year of MNBL. More and more new schools
Oh yeah.
joining, so it's like pretty soon, these high schools are going to have their own kids running their own broadcasts. So it's like that's kind of the day that I think we're going to know that that's kind of happened, and everybody's got their own broadcasts from their own schools. So mom and dad can always tune into their kids playing their games.
Yep. Yeah, that's our hope here too. Like I said, we have a lot of students that want to broadcast. Heck,
Yeah,
even these Huck Talks would be good. Somebody else can be doing the interviewing
there you
if they
go.
like.
Save you
Yeah.
some time
Well, not that I don't enjoy it. It's kind of fun, especially when it's someone I've known for a long time.
for sure.
So, what could our students be doing now in order to prepare them for a career in broadcasting?
You know, I'd say if you're wanting to try to prepare yourself to step foot in the field, the best things to do would be like going back and doing a mock cast. Right. If you wanted to get some just
Yeah.
raw practice, you go back, pick one of your favorite games, some of your favorite teams, and then you mute the broadcast. And you kind of, I mean, it's tough if you're doing it by yourself because it's not that person to person conversation back and forth, but it's a good way to kind of get an entry level or an understanding, trying to build up at hype moments, trying to talk about things that are going on outside of what the viewers are mainly seeing, trying to kind of paint that picture for someone who doesn't really know what you know about the game. Right? It's like, so some of the professionals have told me, it's like pretend you're trying to explain the game to your grandmother, and you have to use simple terms, and you have to
Yeah.
make sure she's going to be able to get the picture and the purpose of what these teams are doing. So and doing it in your own way, right? It's I think broadcasting is very unique, and it's got to be your own style. Don't try to mimic anybody, right? Like it's just not the same.
Yeah.
You gotta bring your own flair to it.
Yep. I think that's with streaming too. I've seen so many people mimicking streamers that I won't mention.
Yeah,
Uh, let's move on to coaching. So, currently, you're a coach for Concordia St. Paul. What does your current day-to-day life look like doing that? What games are you coaching? What do your practices consist of? And what leagues are your students playing in?
for sure. So right now I'm coaching Valorant at the Concordia University St. Paul Golden Bears. I'm coaching two squads there: the blue team, which is considered the varsity team, and the gold team, which is the junior varsity team. Man, and these two teams have come a very long way. Last season, I got brought in as the caster. And I kind of was doing some voluntary VOD review. I was taking notes on a lot of things that they were doing that I just didn't think were up to standard level of collegiate play.
Mm-hmm.
And then Coach Pauly, the head director over at CSP, noticed kind of the work I was doing. I was getting a lot of really good feedback from the players, and basically it was all party agreement to bring me in to kind of get the ship steered in the right direction. And over the course of that season, the team has become an elite school. Man, we are dangerous. Right now, we are 2-0 in CVAL, which is the Riot Games Valorant tournament. So we're looking to take that group. I mean, we already took the number one seed for our varsity team. So, and that's groups of four. And that's kind of like you progress and eventually you can make it to, I think, Riot Games Studios to play against. It's just like CLOL. And that's
Yep.
where, our good friends over at Bethany made it to a couple years ago. So like,
Oh yeah.
it's still a long ways away and we're in the first group right now, but a 2-0 start is, you know, we're looking good. We went 7-0 in NECC, which is
Oh
the other league we're playing in. So we topped the group, secured first seed without a doubt. And in NACE, I think we went 5-2. In
wow.
NACE, we lost to a top 30 school in the University of Maryland. They've always been a very sick esports program.
Oh yeah.
I mean, as long as I've known esports, Maryland has been a good team. So
Are you
no
which?
shame, no
Yeah.
shame in losing to a squad like that. And the other school is not coming to my name right now. But overall, varsity team has only lost 2 matches throughout their entire season so far. For gold, I think the total loss is about 4 matches.
Hmm.
So overall, still really good win rates that we've kind of put down. And I mean, I've been nothing but happy kind of with the guys and the work ethic that they've put in over the course of the season.
It's
But
good to
I
know.
guess day to day would be like we show up. I do a lot of work outside of game time, whether it's watching back film from our games
Mhm.
or opponents' film, taking notes, key things that I think that they do tendency wise, key things that I think we are doing tendency wise, and then I kind of bring it to our practices. Usually are about 3 hours. We have about 2 practices a week, about 3 hours, but then that doesn't factor into outside of game time, queuing up, playing games together, outside of practice time, studying film and reviewing. So overall, we put a lot of practice in and week out with this squad. And I mean, both of our rosters are 6-man rosters. So for our varsity team and our junior varsity team, we're constantly subbing in one player to fill a different role, fill a different agent. So it's like, it's a working puzzle. But so far, I've had really good success and results at the collegiate level, coaching with CSP so far. And I mean, I think that stems from a successful high school coaching background as well.
Yep.
So coaching at St. Louis Park, coaching the Valorant team and the League of Legends team kind of built me up and got me ready for an opportunity at the collegiate level.
Yep, I can see that. That's interesting, especially the sub, because I know NACE and NECC have some interesting rules about subs.
Yeah.
So,
The sub, I mean, they originally, so NACE originally had a zero sub tolerance policy, but they switched it over the course of the
like
first couple weeks into the season. They had
two
like a
games.
locking roster system where you
Yep.
couldn't make a substitution within the best of 3 game set, but then they changed it to where if you talk with the other team and you get the okay, you can make a substitution before the next game starts. So
Cool.
you know it's pretty solid. It's been a really fun season so far, and I'm kind of looking forward to how the rest of the season's going to finish out.
It's evolving.
Yep, for sure.
So, what constitutes a good coach in your mind? I think
Uh,
you might have just answered that with your high school question, but let's see if you
well,
have
I
anything else
think
to add.
I think a good coach is someone who, dude, he puts the team first, right? It's not about one player being the best. It's not about one player being the worst. It's about how can I get each of my pieces to work in the best way possible for us to get the W. I mean,
Mhm.
I try a lot to kind of retain my emotions because I'm a very passionate. I mean, I think I'm still a player's coach if I had to say it because I still bring that player mentality of wanting to be grinding. Right, I spend so much time with my players in the server, playing games with them too when I can. Trying to coach them even when they're just playing a regular match. Whether it's me just muted in the call and then I notice something, I chirp in for a second. They're like, "Oh yeah, man, you're right. You're right. I gotta get on that." It's it's trying to bring the team and better everybody every single day you come in, and trying to bring the right attitude and mentality to it. You know, that's
Cool.
that's what I would say constitutes for a good coach.
Very cool. So on the inverse of that, what constitutes a good player?
A good player is somebody that's coachable, man. It's the one thing that I've had a hard time with is like too many players I think have like a I'll just do an ego. Okay. I'll do the quotes for an ego. And it's like, I'm not here telling you you're bad because I want to make fun of you or say anything like that. It's like I am literally here to be at your disposal and to help you improve as a player, as a person too. Like it's not let's not forget this. Like esports coaches, we are going to have to be held to a higher pedestal at kind of helping build a lot of our gamers because gamers in the grand scheme of things in society as a whole struggle with a lot of kind of the normal human tendencies, right? Like, I mean, conversation is one thing that a lot of gamers just struggle with, right? It's that person to person
Mhm.
connection. So it's like it's building these kids up from ground up, and you know I think being coachable is a really big factor in being a good player. Going to listen to your coach, and going to be team first, right? Team first minded players are something I would much rather have than a guy that puts himself above the team.
Yep,
I'd rather have
agreed.
the guy going 0-20 who's talking and being a good teammate and being positive than the guy that's 20-0 and telling everybody that they're
Trash
good for
talking.
nothing.
Yep.
And, he's making it a hard atmosphere to work in.
Yep. Agreed. Nobody's having any fun then either.
For sure.
So last question. What sort of advice do you have for our coaches here at Dunwoody?
I think advice is a lot of my early weeks. I was kind of saying and dictating the course of the game, and then I kind of started looking more for feedback from my players. Like what do you really want to play? Trying to give them more of because players should always have a little bit of a say.
Mhm.
Give you the keys, and then you kind of point the car in the direction that we're going to go is the main idea. So kind of make sure your players are comfortable, right? Make sure everybody has a voice on the team, and make sure that it's like it's a team, right? It's not this guy and then his four teammates, right? I think that's the big thing, is making sure you keep you and your squad on the same page at all times, and keeping that team mentality, team first.
Very cool. I have a funny thought that came to mind. That's with finals tomorrow. Faker and his teammates.
It is Faker and his teammates, though.
Yeah.
That's the only difference, because Faker's the greatest gamer of all time.
Yeah.
Okay, Faker's a different level, though.
That's funny. Uh, so finally, do we have any questions from our audience? Let me pull up the stream here. So I guess I'll work my way up here. The first question was, will we have any opportunities to travel and play in other schools' arenas? Most likely. I know NECC, they have regionals and finals in person at various locations. Uh, have you traveled around to play at other schools?
Well, so I'll tell you what, I know for a fact that Blaine last season had a Halo match set up in their own school for a high school team. I think it was one of the neighboring cities. They showed up to Blaine's high school, and in one classroom, they had a bunch of monitors and a bunch of Xboxes, and they played a live MNVL match. They had two cameras set up in the classroom to get kind of reactions from both teams. So, I mean, schools and programs are already trying to do it, right? They
Mhm.
might not have a room as baller as this Dunwoody setup, but it's like, the schools are trying to make it happen, and I think that we're getting into that direction. And I think, yeah, very soon, you and your teammates would load up on the school bus with your coach, and you'd travel over to St. Louis Park to take us on
Yep.
in a best of three Valorant match for the week, or something along those lines. So I think we're getting there.
Yeah. And on the inverse, hopefully we'll have schools come to compete here. I know we've
Oh yeah,
talked about it. In fact, there was one league that has asked us if we could do regionals here already based on them seeing our arena. Uh,
that would be pretty dope setup, man.
yeah, that would be fun. That would be very fun. I mean, it would be it would be good. We have some good equipment. So someone's asking, if you could step back and change one thing in your esports career, what would that be?
Hmm. If I could go back and change one thing in my esports career, man, I would say, oh, what would I say, man?
That's a
God,
tricky
this
one.
this is a tough one, man. This is a tough one.
That's good. That's good. That means there's not a lot you'd change,
My guys
hopefully.
put me on the spot here. I think I would go back and probably stop playing League of Legends solo queues sooner than I did, man. That to me right now, that's probably sticking out as the biggest thing I would change. I would have saved a lot of brain cells and hair follicles on the top of my head, man. It was tough, but we got to a place now where I'm not playing League solo queue as much, so
That's
we're in a
funny.
lot better state.
So who?
Dude, yeah, I don't know, man. Not a lot is sticking out to me, so that's what I got to go
That's
with
a
for
good
now.
one. That's a good one, though. I mean, frankly, that's probably good for people to hear.
Yeah.
Uh,
Take a break from games, dude. Maybe that's my piece of advice, cuz I'm
balance.
a
Yeah,
historically tilter, man. So it's like you have a couple bad games, man, go outside. Take a break outside. That's it's needed.
I love it. I think it was Jake actually that was telling me about cortisol levels. How cortisol levels go up. That's why you're feeling tilted. So you just
Right.
need to go out and exercise.
Yeah. You go get a quick pump in after a couple losses. You
Yeah.
know, go hit the gym, and then you come back and you're ready to kill.
Or even better.
For sure.
Let's see. Do we have any more questions? So I take it you know that person?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's got the Frost Aura logo
I
on
see
the.
that. He's like, I'm seeing his. They have great memories of beating you and Soraka. Top 8.
Yeah, man. He used to be a beast, man. He used to be a beast. KXO used to be one of the kings of top lane. He was the OG Frost Aura top laner.
Okay.
College I went to, I went to Normandale for a little bit, and I kind of started the esports program there. But when I stopped going to Normandale, I kind of went back to coaching at the high school level, and then I recently started coaching at Concordia University St. Paul right here in Minnesota. So definitely Minnesota-based esports guru right now is what you could call me.
I'm laughing at your buddy's comment.
Used to, I mean, okay, he's still he's still cream of the crop in terms of top lane, but it's just
Yeah.
like there's just no more
Just to
tournaments, right?
clarify.
There's no more tournaments, man. We don't get to play anymore, so here we are.
There will
Talking
be.
about the good old days. There will be. It's
Yeah.
just the last tournament we played in, man, was 2D-Con, and it was like 300 ping we were dealing with. I mean, I saw you there. We were
Was
like,
that the 2 years ago?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that was like
let's
the
not even
most
talk
recent
about
tournament.
that.
Yeah, let's not talk about it.
That
Let's not
was
talk about it.
I guess we can talk about it briefly, and that's where we didn't have enough download or upload speed to the room.
Yeah, it was
And
tough.
yeah.
We were sliding around on Summoner's Rift. That's all you got to know.
Yep.
Teleporting around, dude. It was good stuff.
Yeah, everybody was flashing, but they weren't flashing.
Yeah, for sure.
Sir Blas is asking, do you play Modern Warfare 2?
I play MW2, man. I used to play Call of Duty, but I have not played the new Modern Warfare 2 yet. I've heard good things though, so that's what I will say for that.
Yeah, in fact, I just got BattleNet installed on this computer, so
Looks like somebody's playing some MW2 after the meeting.
a little bit. Maybe not after the meeting, but at some point.
All right, I hear it.
So, guys and gals, do we have any other questions? Do you have anything you would like to add, Elliott?
No, dude, I appreciate the time. It was good to come on, chat with you guys, give a little bit of insight to kind of, how I've started, kind of where I've come from and the small path that I've built for myself in esports so far. But a long way from the finish. I got a lot more
Yeah.
aspirations than where I'm at right now. So hopefully, this journey is going to continue, and this is kind of the middle ground or early game if you're, a league nerd like me.
Yeah, or just esports in general. It's very early.
For sure.
So I appreciate this. I wish you the best at Concordia and MNVL. And until next time. Thanks, everyone.